Hello everybody, welcome back to Art by the Lake. We are using a few different techniques today, and most notably we're using a canvas board instead of canvas. And to be honest, we're using this because I'm simply out of canvas. We're waiting on some more canvas to come in. We've been traveling, we have another vacation coming up shortly. So if you don't see a few videos after this one, you'll know that I'm sitting on the beach instead of dumping paint all over a canvas. We did just get back from the Southwest, so today's picture is inspired by the Painted Desert and the Petrified Forest in Holbrook, Arizona, just outside of Holbrook, Arizona. So we're going to get the big Pyrex out today, and we're going to do a swirl pour in an attempt to look like a petrified log. If you've ever seen petrified wood, it's some really cool blacks and burgundies and reds and ochre yellows and golds. And you can see over here, or maybe you can't see over here, we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors, including black. We're going to put some black in the corners. Our paint mix so far is the typical 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, 1 part distilled water. I'm going to drop some black in the corners. I want the black to come out last, or I'm sorry, I want the black to come out first, so I'm going to pour the black into the dirty cup last. So you'll see as we go, it's sort of reverse order here. Whatever you want to be in the center of the painting, you should pour first into the dirty cup. For us, that's going to be a neon yellow color. Whatever you want to come out last, which will be on top, you pour in first. So it's sort of reverse order here. So I have used a combination of silicone, coconut milk serum, and rubbing alcohol. I've used the rubbing alcohol in the neon yellow and the gold. I've used silicone in the black, which ought to be interesting. And I've used coconut milk serum in the alizarin crimson mix that I made, the red, the ochre, and the brown. So, without further ado, we're going to pour these in to the cup. I'm going to pour them in slowly so that they remain tidy. This is a one-shot deal. I will swirl as I pour them. So first up, we go with the neon yellow. This is an Americana color. I like the neon colors. I think they're kind of cool. They are a little bit unpredictable as far as specific gravity. In other words, how much they will sink or not sink. So we'll see how that goes. Next up is the ochre yellow. And so I'm going to pour the ochre yellow in next. Trying to do contrasting colors here. So I don't want to pour two similar colors side by side. You can see the ochre yellow is a little bit lumpy. This is a Liquitex color, so I'm squeezing it out of a tube. That's always a little bit of a challenge. Next up is straight red. And again, pouring nice and slowly down the side to keep our colors in sequence, if that's possible. I did a little bit more of the red, and that is because in petrified wood there seems to be a lot of red. And I'm assuming that that's based on the minerality of iron in the petrified wood. If you've ever been to the Painted Desert and Petrified Forest, it's an amazing trip. Well worth going. A really, really cool national park. Some really great scenery, and just walking amongst the giant logs of petrified wood is amazing. So we've done the red, then the brown, then I did a gold just to get it to sparkle a little bit like petrified wood. Don't worry about that drip on the canvas, that will go bye-bye. And next we have this alizarin crimson that we've darkened a little bit. We just darken that with black, easy enough to do. And you can see it's all or nothing here. I'm putting everything in. So I'm not reserving any paint. I'm not resequencing any paint. I'm not using paint twice. And while I have the black out, I'm going to pour some in the corners. The one drawback I'm seeing already of this canvas board is, unlike canvas where you can kind of stretch it out, this doesn't stretch, so we're kind of relying on it laying flat for us, and it looks a bit concave, so I'm a little bit worried that the paint's all going to lay in the center of the canvas and not go anywhere. So in order to help that happen, I'm going to put a big glop here in the middle and then just reserve a tiny, tiny bit. So we're ready to start the swirl pour here. If you've never seen me do a swirl pour, it's exactly what it sounds like. We pour it out slowly and we swirl as we pour. So off we go. And you'll see again, whatever you put in last comes out of the cup first, so it ends up on the fringes of the canvas. So you see the alizarin crimson coming out, the black, now we're getting some of the gold. Now some of that fluorescent yellow is starting to sneak in there, and the reds. And you'll notice the ochre doesn't seem to be showing up for the game. So the ochre, because it is a Liquitex color, I suspect it's heavy. And when it's heavy, it sinks to the bottom, which means it's going to come out last. So we'll see what that means. We are going to tilt this one, just because of what I mentioned earlier, that with the canvas board, I think all the paint is just going to lay in the middle of this canvas. It is spreading nicely. I kind of like that. It is dominated by the fluorescent yellow, which I'm a little bit surprised at. And again, I'm just starting to see some of that ochre color coming out. I know I mentioned before that this little Pyrex cup gets heavy, so thankfully my canvas isn't a whole lot bigger, or I think my right arm would be tired right now. I'm going to quietly let the rest of this pour out of here. If you like what we're doing, please follow us on YouTube. Please look for us on Etsy and eBay, both places we are Artbythelake. We do sell many of these paintings. In fact, after coming back from vacation, we had quite a few to package up and ship that they sold while we were away. This is also an interesting mix of agents that cause cells. We used silicone, rubbing alcohol. Just going to move some of this black down closer. And my favorite right now is the coconut milk serum, and we used quite a bit of that. So I'm just touching up the edges here. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit. I'm not doing time lapse on this one, partially because I don't think there's going to be a lot of migration, and partially because when I have limited time to film the YouTube videos, it's just much easier to not have to do a time lapse. The time lapse obviously takes hours after I'm done painting, so call it lazy, call it what you like, but no time lapse today. I'll take some pictures as this thing progresses though, so you'll have sort of the next best thing. Again, I'm just trying to get some of this black down in here. so that when I tilt, we have sort of a uniform background. Well, if you've ever seen petrified wood, I think you would probably agree that this is a pretty good representation of petrified wood. In all the gift stores out there, they sell big chunks of petrified wood, and they make a point of saying this was not collected at the national park. They actually, when you enter Petrified Forest National Park, they ask you if you have any petrified wood in the car. They have an inspection station when you exit. They have pictures all over the place about removing petrified wood from the park. And they have historical pictures that show how much the park has changed, or in some cases not changed, because of the removal of the wood. So if you're going to go visit, leave the wood there. Okay, we're going to get messy. We're going to tilt. I'm going to get a paper towel ready here because of the aforementioned messy. I can see I want to go down toward me a little bit. That's probably up for you. And I really need to go toward the bottom of the frame for you, which is up for me, which is the direction we're going in now. And we'll get up into some of that black up there. Okay. Not bad. It's a little bit of an oblong log, which is okay. That's what we like. Don't want it to be too uniform. The silicone in the black is making the black a little bit tricky to get it to coat the edges. So it's going to take a little bit more black paint. But overall, I'm pleased with how it looks. I'm sure we will call this one Petrified Wood, or something with the name Petrified Wood in it. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of blowtorch, see what we can wake up. I'd like to ease up on some of this neon yellow, really dominated. I'd like to see some of the more ochre yellow in there, and the flame seems to be helping with that. I'm going to stay away from the center because I like the center as is. And I don't want to create too many cells. I want this to look like the rings of a tree. So we'll get out here on the edge. But I think if you notice, the brown has come up a little bit more, and the ochre has come up a little bit more. But the two colors that I really was counting on were the brown and the ochre. And they really didn't show up for the game today. So, oh well, you get what you get with fluid painting. So I'm going to tweak around with this just a little bit. After the video is over, I'll take some photos as we go so you can see what I've done or not done. But this is Petrified Wood Inspired. So you can check it out if you're interested in this one. You can find it on eBay or Etsy at Artbythelake. Again, please follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you have any questions, you can reach me at mybeerbuzz@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in today. Again, on a programming note, I'm going to the beach, so I'm going to be gone till probably the end of September. At that point, we'll come back, we'll buy some more canvases, and we'll start it all over again. Thanks, everybody.